Julio Cesar Chavez, an authentic Aztec warrior, is regarded as one of the prodigies of the sport, a pup from the best litter that the golden cradle of Mexican boxing has given to the world. Roger Mayweather, better known as the Black Mamba, is a king in his own kingdom, a tough fighter to beat, with fists of steel and a body armor that not just any fighter could penetrate. What happens when you lock these two profiles within the confines of the ring? A true explosion of good boxing. Welcome! In today's video, I will take you through the two encounters between the Caesar of boxing and the Black Mamba. Determined to go all the way for victory, neither fight would end until there was only one man left standing: Julio Cesar Chavez versus Roger Mayweather. On July 7, 1985, Julio Cesar Chavez and Roger Mayweather stepped into the ring at the Riviera in Las Vegas to face their fate. This fight marked Chavez's first appearance on a US network, where he was introduced with a professional record of 44 victories, 38 of them by knockout, and 0 losses. In the other corner, Roger Mayweather had become a professional fighter in 1981. He had held the USBA lightweight title and the WBA and USBA super featherweight titles for brief periods. He entered this fight as the #1 contender for Chavez's WBC super featherweight title. As the local favorite in Las Vegas, Mayweather received a loud ovation during his introduction. The bitter side, you could say, was taken by Chavez, who was met with some boos from the crowd. For this fight to happen, Mayweather had to lose 13 pounds in the few weeks leading up to it, a change that some believed had a lot to do with the outcome. First round. After the sound of the bell, Mayweather worked with the jab, but Chavez's cunning allowed him to block it most of the time. Mayweather didn't give up and kept trying to land punches, while the Caesar of boxing remained patient. In the early moments of the fight, the Mexican had only executed a straight right.
Moved up in weight, Ben Castillos. This is his first American network.
Mayweather began to lean on Chavez, which would be his big mistake. Eventually, Chavez's offense became more aggressive. The man who had been booed now showed a firm stance, betting on brief moments of exchanges. The Mexican pursued Mayweather calmly, like a hunter waiting for the right opportunity to take the perfect shot. Mayweather didn't hesitate to use his 7-inch reach advantage, placing his hand on Chavez's shoulder.
Work the left jab and try to get that right hand in. Living in Culiacan, Mexico, where he is obviously quite a hero already. But that put additional pressure on you. He just smiled and said, "No, I fight for myself. I want."
This earned him 2 warnings from the referee for holding.
He's setting the punch now. No holding.
The next morning, the sports press would describe this round as very boring. Later, it would be revealed that all the judges scored it in favor of Mayweather, which made no one suspect the outcome that awaited around the corner. Second round. Mayweather left his corner again, throwing punches, most of which he failed to land. Quickly, the Las Vegas favorite would sabotage himself. One of his combinations allowed Chavez to counterattack and land a couple of good punches.
And the jab is starting to frustrate Chavez. Along with Dimas Hernandez Sanchez and Caracas Venezuela.
The Caesar of boxing continued to have trouble getting past Mayweather's reach advantage, but like a true Aztec warrior, this didn't discourage him. Suddenly, the Mexican started throwing some straight punches and landed a solid right. Mayweather seemed to respond by landing a good right of his own, but Chavez's offense had already caught up with him, and he had no choice but to start running. Chavez proved to be faster and smarter. He caught Mayweather with a powerful right hand that left him no choice but to fall to the canvas and half into the ropes, his legs wide open.
It was right, beautifully. He just was right. At the end, Mayweather took 2 consecutive.
However, referee Richard Steele ruled it just a slip, allowing Mayweather to get up immediately. At that moment, Chavez likely realized that he needed to be more forceful to make it clear that he was above the heavy favorite. Mayweather continued the fight, but it was undeniable that he had been badly hurt. Therefore, he had no choice but to hold on to Chavez. The Mexican wasn't going to allow Mayweather to cowardly buy time to recover, so he shook him off with a punch, and seconds later, he sent him to the canvas once again.
Move now, he's still on twin streak. And a big one of his own. Mayweather has ruled it a slip, evidently. There was no count, and he's in difficulty. That's because down he goes again.
Mayweather got up at the count of 4, but received the mandatory 8 count from Steele. When the signal was given, Chavez lunged at him, hitting him again. When Mayweather's already weakened body couldn't take it, he fell to the canvas once more.
Chavez comes in with a right-hand lead. Mayweather still in difficulty trying to tie him up.
However, once again, Steele ruled that it wasn't a knockdown since the fall wasn't caused by a punch. Continuing the fight, Mayweather embarked on an escape plan, fleeing from Chavez. During his retreat, he managed to land a good right hand to Chavez's head. This moment of offensive brilliance would be his last shining moment in the fight. The Caesar of boxing gave him no reprieve, chasing him and throwing punches left and right. A combination to the head sent Mayweather to the canvas for the last time, with half a minute left in the round.
Pulling it on, he's got him again, a combination.
Although he wasn't on the ground for more than half a second, Richard Steele found no option but to stop the fight immediately. Thus, the man who had been booed and was trailing on the judges' scorecards was declared the winner by technical knockout at 2 minutes and 30 seconds of the second round. But this story doesn't end here. This would be only the first time Julio Cesar Chavez and Roger Mayweather would face each other in the ring. Stay tuned for the second round. Julio Cesar Chavez versus Roger Mayweather 2. Chavez, who had already won the WBC and WBA lightweight titles, was ready to move up in weight to try to claim Roger Mayweather's WBC light welterweight title. As a precedent, Chavez had easily defeated Mayweather in 1985 while defending his super featherweight title. However, the uncertainty was greater this time. This was a weight class where Mayweather felt less comfortable than where he was most lethal. For this reason, in this new weight class, it was thought that Mayweather could maintain a higher level of effectiveness against Chavez. Even so, no analysis before the fight could predict the events that took place on May 13, 1989, in the ring at the Great Western Forum in Inglewood. For Mayweather, in the 4 years leading up to the second encounter, luck had been on his side. He had accumulated a total of 13 victories, including some controversial decisions over Mario Martinez and Vinny Pazienza. Also noteworthy were the technical knockouts over Sergio Zambrano, Sammy Fuentes for the WBC Continental Americas lightweight title, and Rene Arredondo for the WBC Junior welterweight title. He had only been defeated twice in this time. He suffered a knockout in the 6th round by Freddie Pendleton and fell victim to a unanimous decision against Pernell Whitaker, the NABF lightweight champion. Do you remember Mayweather's glorious entrance in Las Vegas? This time, the opposite happened. Mayweather was booed during his introduction, while Chavez was received with ovations. With Henry Elispuru as the third man in the ring, the rematch took place. First round. Mayweather started the fight with more caution than in the previous one. He kept moving, using his jab to keep Chavez at bay. However, he wouldn't come close enough to land one until after the first minute of the fight. Midway through the round, Mayweather moved in quickly to deliver a tenacious combination on Chavez, who showed a willingness to engage in a close exchange of punches but was quickly stopped by Mayweather's long reach.
He cannot move at this pace for 12 rounds.
Once again, Mayweather moved quickly around the ring, with the Mexican trying to keep up with him. Mayweather landed a quick combination, leaving Chavez with no weapons other than a left hook to the body. Despite this dominant stance, the Caesar of boxing pursued Mayweather until landing a few punches, but not at full power. In retaliation, Mayweather extended his arm once again to keep the Mexican at bay.
In the first fight.
Has not landed an effective blow in round one.
Second round. In this round, Chavez began to match Mayweather's offensive pace by landing more punches. But when he caught him against the ropes, Mayweather showed great strength in withstanding the attacks. Midway through the round, Chavez landed a strong left, followed by another, which he complemented with a series of hooks that rained down on a Mayweather with his back to the ropes. Most of these punches were blocked, allowing Mayweather to escape that dangerous situation without much damage.
Here's a left.
That left landed.
Mayweather in their first fight. He stood him up, and this is what Chavez did to Mayweather.
Even so, the Caesar of boxing continued to pound him with heavy blows. 2 minutes into the round, Mayweather landed a slightly low left punch, prompting a warning from the referee. In response, Chavez threw his own hook, not as low as the left he had received.
Will his chin be as good at this weight as it was at 130 and 135?
With the danger of history repeating itself, Mayweather started clinging to Chavez every time he got too close. However, this didn't stop the solid punches both fighters landed until the bell rang.
Tonight, Jim, is he has tied up Chavez a couple of times.
And a right to the
Third round. The round started with Mayweather receiving a warning for holding Chavez. Although he continued to do it a couple more times, both fighters connected many punches, likely because Mayweather wasn't moving around the ring as much as he had in the previous 2 rounds. Mayweather's main offensive weapon was his jab, avoiding his strong left hooks due to the risk of receiving right-hand counterpunches in return. In this round, Mayweather was deducted a point for hitting too low.
just a little bit. like that, and slipping again. An uppercut or two. He has not yet had a chance. Right grimace to that one.
Chavez is a textbook fighter, but that was not in the...
And the sheer aggression of Julio Cesar Chavez begins to take its toll.
Fourth round. At the start of the round, Mayweather successfully landed a few punches. A minute in, Chavez landed a right, which Mayweather could only respond to with some antics.
And there's the right cross. And an uppercut landed flush on right hand from Chavez. Mayweather clowning just...
All of them were just an act. In reality, he hadn't taken that attack so lightly. As soon as Chavez closed in again, Mayweather resumed holding on to him. From the outside, Mayweather managed to land a couple of punches while trying to keep Chavez at bay with his fist or by holding on to him whenever he got close. After a brief exchange in the last minute of the round, Mayweather received another warning for low blows. At the end of the round, Mayweather clung to Chavez's arm, clearly refusing to let go even when the referee tried to separate them. Fortunately for him, the bell rang, bringing the round to a close.
Largely is mental for this fight.
The point deduction. Both fighters landing good punches. Mayweather landed a right hand, no right cross. And a round.
Fifth round. As soon as the bell rang, Chavez jumped out of his corner to hit Mayweather, continuing the assault for the first half-minute. The onslaught stopped when a terrified-looking Mayweather managed to grab hold of Chavez's body.
In this round. If you're new to boxing, it's important to recognize he can't know. Chavez stepping in now.
After separating, the two exchanged blows. While the Caesar of boxing showcased his best moves, the Black Mamba tried to cling to him whenever he could. It seemed the referee's warnings to Mayweather for holding didn't matter to him. It was pure survival instinct. When he wasn't resorting to clinching, Mayweather landed some decent punches, an event that continued for the rest of the round. However, it was clear that the Mexican fighter was the aggressor, while Mayweather remained on the defensive. It was no surprise then that the man who had already defeated him once was racking up most of the points.
The welterweight division, he would like...
Sixth round. The round started with a good display of boxing. Though Chavez was more aggressive at the outset, Mayweather quickly caught up, throwing his jab and landing a solid cross that prompted Chavez to playfully react, just as the Black Mamba had done earlier.
Good right cross. And now...
Nevertheless, the Caesar of boxing remained the aggressor, as Mayweather soon resorted to his now traditional clinches whenever he felt cornered. Toward the end of the round, Chavez slowed down his punches. He was likely tired from all the work he'd done up to that point. But even with low energy, the Mexican fighter was still more active offensively than Mayweather. The big risk would come if Chavez, from this point on, began to gradually decrease the intensity of his attacks. Any misstep could be exploited by the cunning Black Mamba.
More sprightly. Now Chavez lands a left and a right. More than he's ever carried in his boxing life. Doesn't sound like a lot's up again as Chavez continues to step inside.
Seventh round. Luckily for Chavez, Mayweather wasn't very aggressive during this round. Most of the time, the Mexican chased him, relying on his left hand and trying to work his victory from the inside. In the final minute, Mayweather lost his balance once and now seemed the more exhausted of the two. Still, he occasionally landed good punches. Just before the round ended, a close exchange of blows erupted, continuing a bit after the bell until the referee and Mayweather's trainer, Jesse Reed, managed to separate the fighters. At this point, the tension could be cut with a knife.
And the very good professional fighter, Julio Cesar Chavez, has never lost.
Eighth round. Sometime during the first minute of the round, Mayweather suffered a small cut on his left eyelid. Chavez wasn't unscathed either, with a small cut on the bridge of his nose. The weight of the rounds was evident and both fighters were slower than usual. Throwing fewer punches, both had a better accuracy percentage, likely because their defenses had slowed down a bit too. Midway through the round, Mayweather attempted to show off by dancing while throwing a careless flurry of punches, which led to a clinch.
Mayweather's eye is cut. All of a sudden,
You take a punch.
coming.
When the referee managed to separate them, he called for time so the ringside doctor could check Mayweather's cut. Only with the doctor's approval did the fight continue. In the final minute, they exchanged blows, landing some clean punches, though none significantly hurt the other. Mayweather clung to the ropes with one hand for a couple of seconds while hitting Chavez, earning another warning from the referee. After the bell, the referee grew concerned again as punches were still being thrown. Like two lovers who hate each other, Mayweather held onto Chavez's body before returning to his corner.
Flurry again after the bell, third time in the fight.
Ninth round. The last 9 scheduled minutes of the fight began, and both fighters stepped out of their respective corners on the wrong foot. Both Mayweather and Chavez missed many punches at the start of the round. Midway through, the Mexican fighter finally managed to land a couple of good punches. Mayweather didn't respond until he was safely at a distance.
Maybe no more punching power than he had at 135, but no apparent loss of power.
He worked hard to prevent Chavez from gaining any advantage in terms of reach, even going as far as holding him by the waist when necessary. In the last minute, Mayweather landed a combination while Chavez was backed against the ropes. Even so, the Black Mamba remained more focused on maintaining his guard than on the effectiveness of his attacks. Not even a concrete wall could prepare him for what was just around the corner.
Like the Rosario fight did in the late stages. And now Mayweather is resurging again.
10th round. Mayweather started the round by keeping a safe distance. While moving around the ring, he threw his long-range jab to prevent Chavez from getting close enough for a good shot. His strategy seemed to work during the first half of the round, but it wouldn't take him far. When the Black Mamba found himself cornered against the ropes, he received a couple of heavy punches from the Caesar of boxing.
When he gets this far, he's headed for a decision.
Cutting off the ring. He really doesn't.
After the 10th round, Roger Mayweather decided to run away like a coward and refused to come out for another round. This decision, questionable to say the least, handed Chavez the win by technical knockout. With the entire arena in shock, no one could believe that the Black Mamba had simply chosen to give up the chance to even the score. On the other hand, the Mexican fighter shone in the pantheon, with the gods smiling down on the Caesar of boxing. After this bout, Roger Mayweather continued his journey in the sport for another 10 years, but unfortunately, he was never able to boast about defeating the Caesar of boxing. If you've made it this far, thank you. Remember, the best way to support my content is by leaving a like on the video. Do you think Mayweather really had a chance to beat Chavez in either of their 2 fights, or was it simply a tale of inevitable defeat? Let me know in the comments.